Hi everyone and welcome to another TV4Education training session. My name is Mary Jane and I'm part of the team here at TV4Ed. It's my job to support you in using multimedia content inside and outside the classroom. So today we're going to be having a look at how teachers can use TV4Education, which is what we do in all of our Wednesday sessions at 2 p.m. Each week we have a look at a different thing that you can do in TV4Education. This week we're going to be looking at how to create a resource list. This specific example we're going to use is creating one for space science. If you are not a science teacher, still follow along because we're going to show you how to do it and you can use it for any topic that you need to share with your students. Alright, so we're just going to wait another 10 seconds to see if anyone else is joining us today. Don't forget, if you do have questions you want to ask me during this session, you do have a chat box on the right hand side of your window where you can type in questions directly to us and I'll be answering them in the session as well. Alright, so what I've done here, I have gone and logged in to TV4Education. If you're not sure where to go to get into TV4Ed, all you need to do is go to TV4Education.com and on there is a login button. When you hit that login button, it's going to ask you for your school's email address. When you type that, then it will then ask you for your password. So it's actually going to find your school's TV4Education site for you. If you do not know your password, there is a reset password button that will just reset to your school email address. So don't worry if ever you've forgotten where to go, you just need to know TV4Education.com. All right, so once you are on TV4Ed, I have gone to search and TV4Education. And that's going to bring up the TV4Education homepage. Keeping in mind that this page is available to all teachers, not necessarily your students. So this is just a teacher page. The reason for that being we have everything from G all the way up to R, so we don't want to release that to students. This is for teachers to find resources that are applicable for their classroom needs. So on this search here, you can search for anything you need, but as I mentioned before, we are going to be looking at space science. All right, so let's have a look at what's available. So I can see straight away there's quite a few resources. As I scroll down, more resources are going to load in here. So of course you can preview it here, save anything you're interested in, but as I've said, we've checked that there are resources available, and let's say from this example, we are ready to put our resources together. So what you'll need to do is click the menu button, click Smart Classrooms, and create lesson. So in here, under the lesson name, we are going to put Space Science Resource List. Video lessons on space science for Year 5, Year 6, Year 7, and Year 9 students. Now, the reason I've put those words in there is because they are going to be searchable. So this will actually get listed on the school's collection as a resource. So if any of your other science teachers want to come and have a look what it is, if the students want to log in and see that there is a resource list, we want them to be able to search for it and find it. So I can also put other words in here that I think students might be searching for, and click Save. So we're not going to be adding questions today, we are just going to add resources, so click that resource button. In here we will type in space science. As you can see, the records will pop up in here. So we can scroll down and have a look at what is available. Now you can of course view the descriptions. In here it's got a age group recommendation. So let's just add this first one, add to lesson. So once it's added here, you can preview it to make sure that this is the content that you want to save here.
So do we know what this is in front of me? That's right, it's a representation of the solar system.
All right, so as you can see, I can straight away see this is what I need, but it did have quite a long intro, so you might want to remove that. The way to do that is by clicking on the clip icon, which is the scissors. And in here, again, we can preview it to make sure we're cutting out what we need to. So let's have a look. We'll just skip across until we find that starting point. Okay, so there's that header. So we will set that as the start point.
So do we know what this is in front of me? That's right, it's a representation of the solar system.
And we'll set an end point. So again, I did that by clicking on the open bracket, then the end bracket. Now I'm going to name the title. Now you could just name this clip 1, clip 2, but I'm going to give it a very specific name in this case. So as you can see here, I can check that this is how it's going to show. So if the students want to know, okay, where can I see the solar system? They can actually see, oh, it's already here from start point and end point. Keeping in mind that if you as the teacher have clipped a video, the student will only be able to see the clips that you have selected. The reason for that being you might want them to only view a certain section of the program because there's something inappropriate at the end of the movie and you only wanted them to view a specific 2 minutes. You of course don't want them to be able to skip ahead and watch what you don't want them to watch. All right, so we are going to click save and then close. So now when I click play, as you can see, it's straight away jumped to my start point and it's now going to only let me view that selected section. So let's add another resource. Let's have a look what else is there. You can see there's a couple of documentaries, a couple of episodes from educational TV series. In this case, we are looking at programs for this resource list that are for slightly younger students. Now, saying that, I've selected it as year 6 to year 9, so not secondary science. So we'll look for another one that's, again, the age recommendation is 9. So that should be good. We'll add it and then preview it.
I must have left that in gear. Nothing else can possibly go wrong. I want to just open them.
So as you can see, I can just skip to any point in the video and start playing it to preview it. Now I might actually go, you know what, I don't think this episode is very educational.
Now, you're famous for being the first person to use a telescope to look into space back in...
But then, as I preview more of the program, I can see that actually it's role-playing different characters from history, and I can see that it actually is an educational episode. So, it's a great benefit that you can quickly skip ahead at any point. There's not much buffering time or anything. You can just preview it straight away. If I've decided I want them to view the whole program, I can leave that there. But it's probably not in their interest to know which channel or that it's a HD program. So we are going to click that pen button, which is going to allow you to edit the information. So I'm going to get rid of the channel and rating and the MP4 because they don't need to know any of that, and click save. And as you can see, it's made that a lot more streamlined. So we're going to do that again for the first resource and click Save. Now you do also have this hint button here. So you can put in something you want the students to look out for. So now when the students open this lesson, it's going to tell them what they need to be paying attention to when they look at this resource. So again, if you're using this for putting together resources before a test or an exam, this is a great way to highlight what they need to be looking for without giving them too much information where they will skip over the whole resource. So again, you can add as many resources as you want. We're just going to quickly add one more. The Fundamentals of Space-Time, which is an amazing resource. So we'll have a quick look at this.
Straight. Yeah. Well, we're not very animated, are we? Sure we are. Look.
Alright, so that one seems to be the correct program. So again, we're going to clean up that title. They don't need to know it's a part 1 because I'm not going to give them the second part. And we'll click Save. So again, you can keep adding as many as you want. What you could also do is make slides. So this will all appear on the one lesson. If you want to create another page with additional resources, so you might want to do one page that is specifically on planets. The next page is specifically on space-time. The next page is specifically on suns. So you can do a whole bunch of different slides for different reasons and set them up individually. So to do that, you just click New Slide and you can create new resources on that page as well. Now, of course, today we are only adding resources because that's the lesson we're putting together, but if you wanted to add questions, you can of course do that. We do have other tutorials from previous training sessions that you can view on our YouTube page. Now, as you can see here, you do also have a question box. So if at any point you're using TV4Education or the lesson area, you're putting together a resource list and you have a question, you can actually chat directly with our support team without needing to call or email us. So you can put in any questions here and that'll get you directly in contact with them. Alright, so the last thing we want to highlight is I've specifically looked at TV4Education. I can also check a search in our curated YouTube section. So that's going to have resources that have been vetted by our research team from YouTube. So we've actually had a look at those programs on YouTube and said, yes, this is educational. It's definitely a great resource that you could use in the classroom. For example, a science teacher singing about gravity, things that are a little bit unorthodox or creative that you could definitely use in the classroom. So of course we can add anything from here. So we might actually add that song. Here we go. And add it to our resource list. If we want to add another resource, we can go to youtube.com. We've put that in there because you might know of a specific video on YouTube that you want to use, and even though our research team hasn't vetted it, because of course on YouTube there are so many resources, you can go ahead and say, yes, I've checked this file and I think it's appropriate for my lesson. You can also upload files. So if you want to add a worksheet or a graphic that you have created, you can just go to uploaded files and drag and drop a file onto this section and it'll be available as a resource. You can also add a URL if you had a specific website in mind, or free text if you wanted to give them some instructions or additional notes on the lesson. Now I'm doing this as an example on the resource list, but of course you can add any of those resources to a full lesson as well and add questions onto those resources. So again, if you are having questions while you're on TV for Ed, don't forget to put that chat box to use where you can speak directly to our support team. Otherwise, thank you again for staying with us for another TV for Education training session. We're definitely looking forward to hearing from you if there's anything you'd like us to cover in these sessions. And don't forget, we're doing them very regularly with different members of our support team, so you can always hear from different people. So thanks again, and look out for our future training sessions.